guys, Gil right here. Welcome back to another episode of the Nakama Lounge. This is episode number 5. There is a storm brewing, and today we're going to be diving into everything that's going to be coming up in the anime world. Of course, there has been a lot of announcements in the last couple of days with the CR Expo going on, but also because the fall season is looking extremely stacked. Of course, with the official confirmation that Chainsaw Man and Bleach will be both airing in October. Now, today with me, I can't do this alone, of course, as per usual. Today with me, we have Is returning as per you, as always. Say hello, mate.
Hey guys, how's it going? I quickly went to grab my cat because he was right next to me, so I wanted to show off my cat. So here's my cat.
There you go.
All right, there we go.
Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. We always do be cat gaming around these streets. Now, of course, somebody who's not been on a podcast in a very, very long time, but he's making his return after, I think, 3-4 months now. Say hello to Ice Cold Joker. How you doing, mate?
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, it's been a hot minute since I've been on, but we finally did the face reveal, so voila, here I am. But I'm really glad to be back because, I've been keeping up with everything that's been going on, and there is so much that I'm excited for in this season and next season, so I'm ready.
For sure. And we're going to dive into it today, but also returning after taking a little bit of a break. Say hello to Trico Gaming. How are you doing, mate?
I'm doing really good. I'm really looking forward to this upcoming season, and I'm definitely looking forward to talking about it with you guys.
For sure. Now, of course, if you're watching this on the YouTube side of things, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And of course, comment down below what shows are you most excited for. Of course, we'd love to see what you guys have to say down below in the comments. And of course, one more thing is check out our Spotify, because if you want to listen to us on the go, the podcasts are over there as well. Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty side of things. Or before we get into what we're looking forward, let's talk about what we've been watching, because of course Iz and I spoke about what we've been watching last week in last week's podcast. This week, however, we have 2 new guests on the podcast, so let's see what they've been up to with the summer season. So Joker, let's start off with you, mate. What have you been watching recently, and has there been anything in the summer season that's grabbed your attention?
Yeah, I've got a huge list of stuff that I've been trying to keep up on, somewhat failing on it. I mean, Classroom of the Elite season 2, always, we've been waiting for it for a good amount of time, and it's so far been pretty good. Surprise hit that I actually enjoy a lot is the combination of like Chorus Recoil and Engage Kiss. I mean, both of those, strong female protagonists, a lot of waifus to be sure, but I do like the plot of like Chorus Recoil a lot. Engage Kiss is kind of a little bit more generic, but I do like the plots of both of them. Danmachi 4, I just got caught up on yesterday.
Hey, let's go.
And so I saw the first episode when it aired, and then I took a break or something, and I caught up the last 2, and it's really gotten interesting, and I forgot how much I like that world and all the characters that are inside of it. And then it wouldn't be me without a slight bit of trash, and that's the harem in the labyrinth of another world.
Oh, that's fair. I thought you were gonna say something like Vermeil Gold or something like that, but yeah, I've heard a lot about that one, and I'm kind of like maybe considering it. I'm considering slowly but surely maybe watching it. How about you, Chico? What have you been up to this season so far?
So I have finally been able to. I've been telling everyone that it's been on my list of anime to watch and binge watch and catch up on. And everyone has told me that it's the best isekai out there, and I needed to catch up and watch it. And because everyone was so hyping up for the 4th season, I decided to just binge watch and catch up on Overlord and just go ham on trying to catch up on it. I finally did catch up on it, and you know what? It's as good as everyone says it is. It's actually really, really great. And like, I don't know if it's as good as like my top favorite, which is reincarnated as a slime, but I'm really curious like what they're gonna do next with the last couple of episodes they just released. And I'm super down to keep on watching it. And I'm glad I binge watched it. Other than that, yeah, it's really cool. I really like it. I'm glad I binge watched it. It's finally one of the many anime that's on my list I can finally cross off. But like you as well, the Harem in the Labyrinth is something I've been watching too. I'm kind of bummed that it's super censored on Crunchyroll, and I was kind of hoping it'll be on High Dive. That way I can actually finally buy High Dive. But I don't know if anyone else is watching like Calling of the Night or anything like that. But if it's as good as everyone says it is, I would definitely say that maybe High Dive is finally worth getting into, so I can actually finally watch this kind of stuff. Yeah. But the Lucas Recoil, the gun one, that one,
Recoil, yep.
That's my underrated like anime because I just love how like John Wick these girls are. It's like John Wick but with waifus. I love it.
I mean, yeah, that's a very, very good analogy, I would say there. But no, I was gonna talk about High Dive actually, funnily enough, because I was talking to somebody in my Discord about it, right? And up until now, like you said, I don't think High Dive was that crazy of a streaming service. Everybody would tend towards like, well, Funimation at one point. Now it's of course converted all into Crunchyroll, but you had Crunchyroll, you had Amazon Prime, Netflix, and stuff like that, right? But High Dive was never up there. And even I know one more thing that people absolutely hated for some reason. High Dive would not work on certain like TVs and stuff for some reason, and the software would be extremely buggy. So a lot of people don't like High Dive for that reason as well. And the funny thing was, I think recently that said person in my Discord, he was using High Dive to watch, well, Danmachi and a couple of other shows as well, right? And for some reason it just deleted everything from their currently watching list, and they had to restart from the very beginning to try and figure out where they were in the season as well. So it's yeah, I think the software for High Dive is definitely, there's a lot to be desired for. So if anybody's listening on from High Dive, you might want to try and fix your software, to be quite honest. But no, I absolutely agree with some of the shows you guys have been watching. I mean, Licorice Recall has probably been my highest rated show for this season, I would say. Right now, I would say Danmachi's up there as well, but that's me being a little bit biased, I would say. Of course, I think the other show that you mentioned, Overlord, I'm very impressed with how they've been handling the season so far, because last season, one of my biggest critiques was, well, the CGI from Madhouse. I mean, it wasn't that great. And I think this season has improved. You can tell, but I think that's also just over time. I feel like in the last couple of years, CGI as a whole in the industry has been massively, massively, massively improved, which is good to see, because more and more companies just want to go towards CGI for some reason. But hey, if that means if they are actually working on it and they're improving, that's more than fine for me. How about you? Is anything you want to update us on from your end in terms of shows that you've been watching? Of course, it has, like I said, we're almost into the 5th and 6th episodes of some shows. So any updates from your end in terms of shows that have gone south or have gone north even? What do you think, mate?
To be honest, a majority of the stuff that I've been watching, I've still kept up with. Like Black Summoner, I've still kept up to that. You speaking about CGI, that anime has been doing CGI for some of the battles, and it is actually doing pretty well, I will say. It doesn't look like too jarring. Like they blend like the 3D with the 2D, and it doesn't look like too out of place. Although there are some caveats here and there, because at the moment CGI anime is still like kind of in the newer stages, so you will have those rough ends, but it's not like X Arms bad. So that's that's pretty much pretty good. Speaking about trash anime, but it's a guilty pleasure type deal, the harem anime, the Harem Labyrinth. I've also been keeping up with that. It's just so
extra
trashy. It's so trashy. Like straight up, the second episode, he goes. I don't know what. It's like apparently a different timeline they're showing, or what will happen in the future. I don't know, but it just shows main character already has his harem. Goes back to the first village, sees a boy that has black hair, then realizes, oh, that's my son. Doesn't tell him he's his son, gives him the sword, and is like, all right, peace, and then leaves. I'm just like, okay. What?
Yeah, how's your mom doing? Let me check up on her.
Exactly. Like, it's just so weird. It's so weird. But,
oh my God.
And then obviously my stepmom's my ex-girlfriend's my stepmother. That one's also
stepmom's daughter.
That one's still pretty.
You mean your stepmom's daughter?
Yeah.
Your ex-girlfriend is not your stepmom.
It's one of those things.
That's a different realm altogether. That's going in a different direction altogether.
Oh boy.
I'm not surprised if that's going to be a thing, though.
I wouldn't be surprised
Listen.
either, to be honest. Actually, let me check. I'm gonna check in the meantime. You keep going. My stepmother is my ex-girlfriend. Let's see if there's something.
So yes, that anime though. That one's actually still piques my interest because like it's essentially like domestic ex-girlfriend but without the smut, essentially. So
Yeah, I can see that.
I think I think it is also a little bit more normal as well because they were actually properly dating before the whole thing, and it's kind of on the side of more. It's more on the side of fine than not fine, unlike domestic girlfriend, which was not fine then more than fine kind of thing. I feel.
I get a little bit of Kaguya out of it too, with them like actively trying to one up each other in that whole dynamic. So I enjoy that,
dude. The best friends are like what peak or are like the peak of that show because they just give the best comic relief.
Yep. No, I was just gonna say as well, first and foremost, I have to say that I could not find a show where the stepmother was the ex-girlfriend, surprisingly. But the second thing is I absolutely agree. I think it gets a lot of like more wholesome and more lighter vibes because there is no like drama or soap opera feel, because that was the big issue with domestic girlfriend in my opinion, is they wanted to just create more and more drama every so often, whereas this one feels a little bit more like it's more of an actual rom-com more so than anything else for sure. So it actually works out really well, especially with the side cast as well. Like you said, it works really, really well. But yeah, that's one big thing as well. Domestic girlfriend, it felt like it was a little bit wrong because it was literally the stepbrother and then both stepsisters warning the stepbrother, and it was like, brother, what's going on? And then with the ending of the manga, I should say specifically, it just went south real quick, bro. It went
oh my god!
I've heard about the manga.
Ending, dude, the ending for that was just what the actual fuck is this?
There was no reason for any of that to happen, but it happened. I could not believe what I was reading. I could not believe what I was reading.
No one's talked about this one yet, but Devil's a part-timer too. Anyone enjoy
that? Devil is a part-timer has been solid. I will say it has been solid this season. It's not been amazing, I would say, but it's been solid. I think that's the best way to put it. Because whenever I do the top 10 anime of the week for Anime News Weekly, right, it's always in and around the 5th to 7th spot for me, which is good enough. I think if you're in the top 10, that means you're a good show, especially because there's like 20 shows a season pretty much, or even more than that. So if you're getting top 10, it's good enough, and it's doing a good job, I would say, overall. Because it's also got a new studio as well, so you can tell it's a little bit different.
The animation is much different than season 1.
Yeah, because season 1 was done by studio. It was done by White Fox, the same people who did ReZero and stuff, if I recall correctly. This one is being done by Studio 3 Hertz, so it's a completely different studio. But yeah, no, I think it's been a good show for sure. The one show I've been wanting to ask people about, because I personally, not gonna lie, have just dropped it because I couldn't care less. I know what happens in the manga. Have any of y'all been keeping up with Rent-A-Girlfriend season 2 potentially?
No.
Yeah. So I don't know about that one.
Yeah, I was hoping somebody would be, but I was just like, maybe not. But it just feels like nobody's been talking about it as well. But I think that's the direct consequence of what's been happening in the manga, it feels like. But if you guys have been keeping up with it in the comment section, let us know, because I have absolutely no idea about it, to be honest. But any other anime you guys want to talk about that's been going on in the summer season so far?
Parallel
World Guide to Babysitting.
Oh, snap.
That one is good. I actually like that one. That's in my top 10 as well. I've been watching that. It's been good fun. It has actually been good fun.
Wait, which one? Me and Joker said two different ones. Okay.
I didn't hear Joker's. I'm sorry, I didn't hear Joker's. I heard Yakuza's Guide to Babysitting. That's
I haven't
really
started Yakuza's yet, but I said Parallel World Pharmacy, which is our third isekai about some dude running a pharmacy, but it's actually got a more interesting plot than the other two that came out beforehand. So I've actually kind of enjoyed it.
I mean, considering the last healer was redo of healer, I think this is okay. This is fine. I think this is fine. But yeah, no, I'm really liking Yakuza's Guide to Babysitting. It's been good fun. It's been really wholesome, and it worked. It's just good. It's just been good, chill comedy slice of life. I like it.
It's funny because people are just saying, like, first we had Anya, and now we have the daughter of the Yakuza, of the father of the boss of the Yakuza. It's just like, this is just too wholesome. This is just too wholesome. We had
Yep,
one
yep.
wholesome daughter. Now we have another wholesome daughter.
For sure, for sure. Yeah,
So
no, it's been good. And go ahead.
I was gonna say is like we have like top 10 like waifu of like the season. We have a top 10 husbando of the season. Why can't we have like the best like wholesome little girl of the season? Because I feel like she could actually probably compete against Anya in a way of like being just so wholesome and adorable.
Mm-hmm.
Can we like
I
see
mean, yeah,
that? Can we see that?
I feel like there is a lot of contenders for that. Every season, I feel like there's one or the other. Because I remember there was one last season, not last season, but the season before, Spy Family in the winter. But I can't remember off the top of my head. But I feel like there's always that contender of the cutest daughter or something, like small bean. It's the best small bean of the season, basically.
Well, we should have.
Yeah, I think I know which one you're talking about.
I
It
feel
wasn't
there was
Kana
one.
from Dragon Maid, was it?
Yeah.
No,
I think
no,
Kana
No,
could be.
it
one.
was the boy, right? It was the kid that lives by himself or something like that.
I
I
think
forgot his
so.
name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was in the winter season. And I don't Kobayashi wasn't in the winter season if I recall correctly. So that it wasn't that for sure. But I can't remember. But yeah, no, I think the summer season's been good so far. I know people have been saying it's a little weak, but I mean when you're or sandwiched in between like the spring season, which was really strong with Spy Family, Kaguya-sama and everything, and then the upcoming fall season, it's very, very tricky. So yeah, but speaking of fall season, we'll talk about that in just a second. Of course, we do have a small ad from our lovely sponsors over at Manscaped. So let's watch the ad for a split second and we'll be right back.
Support for the show is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package is the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer just for you. You can get 20% off and a free worldwide shipping discount with the code down below on your screen right now at manscaped.com. If my math is correct, that equates to around 8 million balls. So basically, we received the Performance Package 4.0 in the mail, and we're gonna go through quickly what came in the package. So first things first, we did receive the Manscaped Weed Whacker. That's the first thing here, obviously. This is the electric nose and hair trimmer. Then they actually did provide us with some boxer briefs right here. Then we actually ended up getting the lawnmower trimmer over here. Then we ended up getting the crop preserver, which is a deodorizer, very useful. And then we got the crop reviver, which is a toner. So this package, very, very useful if you guys are interested in this. Even if you yourself are not going to use this, you can buy it as a gift for somebody. But yeah, just don't forget that in order to get this, you have to use the code. Well, you don't have to use the code down below, but it would give you a big discount if you use the code down below. 20% off and free shipping with the code. Depending on what podcast you guys are watching right now, it'll be different. But the code right here on your screen is what you use to get the 20% discount as well as the free shipping. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped.
And we are back. Of course, we are going to start off talking about the fall season, but more so than the fall season, the first thing we're wanting to talk about is, of course, that Chainsaw Man trailer. It dropped about 2 days ago prior to this recording, I think it was, and it broke the internet, I would say. Everybody was just talking about it, and there was a lot of gossip going on over on Twitter, Reddit, everywhere, on all social media platforms. People were talking about it. I want to see what you guys think, because I haven't actually spoken to you guys about the trailer itself, in all honesty. So, let's start off with you, mate. What did you think of the trailer? How are you finding the approach they have at Mappa for Chainsaw Man?
In all honesty, it looks really good. Really well animated, art style, the colors, just especially like the movements they have them like going through, like, and the cinematic shots as well. It's like everything they're doing, they're like really outshining themselves with this. So animation wise, it looks like it's gonna be very, very solid. It looks like it's gonna be like, one of the top, like I'd say like 3 contenders for the fall season if they keep the animation style that they showed through the trailers. Only thing is just all I want to know is like how the voice actors are gonna do, because that's really all it is. Like you can have like a really well done anime, But if you just have voice actors that just don't know how to project the characters, it just kind of takes you out. And you're just like, it looks pretty, but I don't know. So
Yeah.
to be honest, I have high hopes for it. Don't get me wrong, but it's just I just want to see the performance at the end of the day.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. And one thing I wanted to also talk about is the fact that, we're going into this completely uncensored. It's not going to be filtered whatsoever. They're going to be showing everything what happened in the manga directly into the anime. Of course, they might do some cuts here and there, obviously, as per usual, as every anime does, small changes here and there, but not too much, I assume. And they want to make it as faithful as possible, which is fantastic. That's the main aim for any anime adaptation, in my opinion. But you make a very valid point, of course, about the voice actors, because the voice actors for Chainsaw Man, the ones that have been revealed for Denji, Makima, Power, and I think it was Aki Hayakawa. I think they announced his voice actor as well, if I'm not mistaken. And all of them except for Power's VA, who's done by Ai Fairuz, the same voice actress who did Hibiki Sakura from Dumbbells, and of course her most popular role with Jolene from Stone Ocean. Of course, she's voicing Power, and the other three are very much, I would say, unknowns for the most part. They haven't done any big role that people would immediately remember them from, like a Sayori Hayami or anything of that sort. These are completely fresh voice actors. So the one thing I want to talk to you guys about is that a good thing or a bad thing? Of course, for an anime that's this popular, would it not have been probably a bit safer to go with some well-known voice actresses or actors instead of maybe just going for newbies to just get them to work on such a big project? What do you think, Trico? We'll start with you first.
Like, I think it's a great thing. Like, we have always made the jokes of oh, I recognize that person. Oh, I recognize that person. I recognize that person for a very long time. And don't get me wrong, these voice actors and actors are really great, and there's nothing wrong in hearing them again, because that's what we do. We like hearing the same people. But I think this is a really anticipated anime that a lot of people are looking forward to, and to see some new faces in the voice scene get their part in this might actually bring up their career like crazy. And it's kind of nice to see some new voices trying to get into the anime scene, because again, it's been saturated with the same voices for so many other anime. That's kind of nice to see something fresh and new.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I do think there is also a positive thing in obviously having a voice actor that's well known. Like, for example, when we had Spy Family come out, right? The big thing was, of course, both Yor Forger's as well as Lloyd Forger's voice actor and actresses, respectively, with Takuya Eguchi doing Lloyd and Sayori Hayami doing Yor. And we obviously remember them from so many of their works, but especially because they've worked before in a relationship action sequence, I suppose. Well, or I should say a relationship role, basically, with, of course, Oregairu or Snafu, basically, right? So in that sense, it also made sense. But I do agree with you. I think it's a great thing that they're going for new voice actors, in my opinion, even though it's such a big production and it is a bit risky. They would have had done auditions. They would have taken multiple takes. They would have already prepared them for these roles. So I don't see a real negative reason for this to be a bad thing, or I don't see this as a bad thing. I think that's a positive thing even. So it's good in that regards. But of course, a lot of people are not extremely happy about Makima's VA in particular. They've come out and said, oh, she's too soft-spoken and whatnot. What do you think about that, Joker? Because obviously, the one big thing is we don't have any previous example of Makima's voice. So do you think that this is a little bit unnecessary and a little bit like, what's the best way of saying this? A little bit too hasty and making us a decision before actually watching her in action properly outside of her PV?
Yeah, I mean, we've had no previous content for a voice for the character. So what are you judging on? Your own biased and your own, thoughts that are in your head of how a character should sound? I mean, how often does that actually work out when something transfers from manga light novel to actual animation? Sometimes it works. Sometimes, they do match what you think they do. And a lot of times they don't. I know that from personal experience that I have many characters. I'm like, oh, they should sound like this. And they're 100% not. So I think that her being judged so harshly when there's no source material for the voice is just I think, over hating, and it's really being forced. Because if she does a really good job, and I'm going into Chainsaw Man completely blind. Like, I've never read anything about it. I'm gonna watch it and I'm gonna react and all that. From the trailer, she sounds fine. Like, I don't know what the problem is. She's soft spoken, I guess it's what the character's gonna be, but I don't really get why people are hating her so unnecessarily when we've literally only had like a 5-second clip of her talking.
I absolutely agree with you on that one. It's a bit too hasty in my opinion as well. I think it's a little bit unnecessary because as somebody who's read Chainsaw Man, I still have to start part two actually, funnily enough. But as somebody who's read the original part and read what Makima is like, I think it kind of fits her. But of course, I think it's also dependent on perspective, right? Like you said, everybody has some sort of voice in their head when they're reading the manga, but it's never going to end up being exactly the same as what you think. Sometimes you're very lucky and it's exactly what you think it is, but sometimes it just isn't, and more often than not I feel like it isn't the case, in all honesty. But I assume you've read Chainsaw Man, right? So what do you think about the voice actress? Do you think it's what you expected or not? Because it's another example of where it's just like, oh, it didn't match kind of thing. So what do you think about the voice actress and her performance so far from the PV, of course?
To be honest, I don't really care for it too much. Like, yeah, when I was reading it, she had like a little bit more of like a sinister type tone voice instead of like a lighter tone. But again, like at the end of the day, it's all about performance based. Like you can you can just do something like completely different that people wouldn't have expected to do it, and it work beautifully. Like for example, I remember what should I call this? It was oh my goodness, I can't forget. Willem Dafoe. There you go. There you go.
There you
I
go.
completely I completely was just blank on it. So with Death Note, the Netflix series, everyone hated it. We will agree. But the only saving grace of that shit show of a movie was Willem Dafoe's Ryuk. You know? It would that's not something you would expect like Willem Dafoe to play as Ryu, but like he worked it, and it worked out beautifully. That was the only saving grace of the movie, albeit with all his extremely huge flaws. But it's he still did a banging performance. So this is something similar. It's like we barely know her.
Yep.
She's like not that very well known, but she can make a name for herself because at the end of the day, like all voice actors start from somewhere. They're not cultivated straight out the gate. It's like, oh, they're the most perfect. And we're like, no, they all start from somewhere, and they all end up evidently becoming big because of just one single role. And who knows, maybe maybe people will fall in love with her performance as Makima, and then that's going to be her big role that she's known for it as playing, Makima in Chainsaw Man.
Absolutely agree. I absolutely agree with that. And yeah, I think, like I said, we should probably just wait and watch, see how it goes, because we still have a long time to go. And we have to remember this. Them going for a young cast as well, in my opinion, is a good thing, because especially if there is going to be more and more seasons of this, especially with the part 2 manga releasing. I don't know how long the season is probably going to go on for and how much they're going to cover from the manga. But assuming they cover a small amount and they do want to do multiple seasons of it, and then you have to do part 2 as well, getting a young voice acting cast, not just for Makima but the rest as well, like Denji and stuff, I think it's a fantastic thing, because they'll just grow as well, and they'll grow into the role really, really well, compared to just trying to get a very experienced voice actor and then potentially something happens or the other, and it doesn't work out. That for a very long time you might have to replace somebody for one reason or the other. So I think it's a good thing for going for a very young voice cast for that particular reason as well. But yeah, that's Chainsaw Man. Of course, we're super excited for it. They have officially confirmed it for October 2022, so it is going to be joining the big list of anime coming out in the fall season. And of course, let's talk about the fall season now. You mentioned the top 3 shows of the fall season, at least for Chainsaw Man, right? So let's talk about the fall season itself. We have a lot of shows coming out. I made a tweet about the shows coming out earlier on, and I listed off like I think 9 to 10 big listing shows, not including stuff that's potentially new and something that could be refreshing as well. these are all returning shows. We have Bleach, we have Chainsaw Man, MHA season 6, Mob Psycho 3. There's just so much coming out. But let's talk about the season then, shall we? You said top 3 for Chainsaw Man. What else are you very excited for, and what do you think is going to be a standout of the season?
Okay, so the standout, obviously, we always got to go with Bleach. Come on, it's Bleach. Well, like we always got to give love. We always got to give love to the OG. But what we also have is Spy Family coming back, which it dominated the spring season. So now, but like to be honest, the spring season wasn't that extremely stacked as the fall season is right now. So Spy Family coming back in the fall, it's definitely going to be top 10, but I don't think it's going to be top 3. So, but it is what it is. And then obviously Mob Psycho. To be honest, I'm calling it right now. The top 3 is probably going to be interchanging between them. Is always going to be Mob Psycho, Chainsaw Man, and Bleach. That's where I'm calling right now. Those are going to be the top 3. Like My Hero, probably 4 to 5, maybe even breaks the 3 if it does. But as
if
of
they
right now,
actually animated well,
yeah, if they actually do what they're supposed to, obviously, Bleach and Chainsaw Man definitely going to be on the top 3. Mob Psycho might interchange between My Hero and obviously Spy Family, just going to be there, probably like 6 or 7. I'm going to be honest with you, but and then what I will say will be part of the top 3 is Blue Lock. Blue Lock will definitely hit the top 10. Because that show looks beautifully animated. Voice actors are really cool. The colors they have and like the shading and everything they're doing for this anime alone looks amazing. And I love that they're keeping the faces how the original mangaka drew the faces, because a majority of the faces that you see like in Blue Lock, they're very focused, they're very driven, but then there are some sinister, like they make some sinister, some like very like out of like it feels just weird looking at, essentially. Like it looks so creepy. And the fact that they're gonna keep they're gonna keep that style and make sure those faces are brought to life in anime form. So definitely that is also gonna be a top contender for top 10. Maybe hit top 5, but definitely is gonna be in top 10.
Yeah, you've listed a lot of shows there, but I agree with you on that one. I'm not too sure on MHA season 6. It depends on how, again, like you said, I think it depends on how they animated. I feel like if it is just like how they did season 5, I don't think it's gonna breach even the top 5, to be quite honest. I think the rest of the season's super stacked, and I think you've given a little less credit to Spy Family. Surprisingly, I think it is gonna be still in the top 4, top 5 at least, I feel. But I think the top 2 is probably going to be just dominated by Bleach and Chainsaw Man. I feel I think that's pretty much 100% going to happen. I agree with you on that one. What do you think, Trico, about the upcoming fall season? Any names you want to throw into the hat potentially? Let's throw in some movies as well if you're interested. Some movies you might be looking forward to potentially as well.
No movies that I can think of. Maybe you guys can talk about more of the movies. But I'm going to have more of a controversial kind of topic, and that's that
Go ahead.
I don't think Bleach is going to be up there. I know a lot of people are going to really go into it as much, just because, yeah, it's old school, it's awesome, it's shonen, like everyone will love that kind of stuff. But I think as like years go on, a lot of people kind of went away from that kind of stuff and wants to see different things and want to try different things. That's why Chainsaw Man, I think, is actually going to probably be number 1 because of how hyped and how excited everyone's going to be for it. And then right next to it is probably going to be Spy Family, just because it blew up when it did blow up, and more people are excited about it than ever before. And as long as they keep doing what they're doing, they're probably going to be like number 1 or number 2 spot. And then Mob Psycho and My Hero will probably be the 3rd spot, in my opinion. That's probably the only thing I can guess, just because they are a continuous series of everything like that. But like Bleach can still get up there. Like I'm definitely gonna watch it because I grew up watching Bleach, and so I'm super looking forward to it. I just don't think a lot of people are going to go into it as much as like we think it's going to go into it. But mark my words, when we talk about this season and it's the number 1 spot and everyone's talking about it, You guys can throw like all the hate at me, telling me how wrong I am. But that's just my opinion on how it is. One thing I think is going to be in the top 10. I don't think it's going to be up in the top 5, but I think Uzaki-chan season 2 is actually going to be up there, just because everyone.
I mean,
everyone
after the
likes
controversy of the first season, though, do you think?
I would say that like everyone enjoys the smut anime, and it always is
Want
in
some
your
culture
place.
in that list.
You got to have some culture in the list. Exactly. I don't know what they're gonna do with it, but I am actually definitely going to watch it. And I think there's going to be a place in the top 10 for this one, because everyone enjoys a little culture in their lives when it comes to watching the anime.
Trick, are you gonna watch Peter Grill season 2 then?
Oh, you know it.
Nice.
All right. I mean, that is a very controversial take about the Bleach thing. But I can see where you're coming from. It's very old school, right? That's very true. And of course, they're adapting a manga arc that is from the early, well, not early 2000s per se, but 2010s, effectively 2000, late 2000s, early 2010s. And the genre itself has changed so much since then as well, right? The shonen genre itself, it's improved and adapted to become much more complex, much more interesting. So maybe the more simpler tones, I don't know. Again, it just depends on how well they execute it. I feel again with Kubo adding the stuff that he removed from the original manga into the anime might improve that factor. Maybe that's the thing that it most likely needs to become on par with a lot of the more recent shonen quality. Maybe let's see. I think you might be a little bit harsh on it, but I want to see how it goes for sure. It's going to be very interesting to say the least. I will say bold claim on the Uzaki-chan. Like I said, it's a very considering its controversy last time around with how much people absolutely hated it because of Uzaki herself. But we'll see. We shall see how it goes. Joker, how about you? Anything you want to talk about particularly that's popping into your face?
Yeah, I mean, y'all have talked about the big names up there: Spy Family, Bleach, To Your Eternity season 2 is coming as well, so that is something to keep an eye out for. Will it hit top 10? Probably, if it's as strong as season 1 was. But one that I know is not going to hit top 10, but I'm still personally going to look forward to it, is Gundam: The Witch from Mercury, because I love my mecha, and Gundam hasn't really been very strong lately. Like Iron-Blooded Orphans was good. Gundam Hathaway was also good, but all the other like Gundams like in the recent past couple years have been more geared towards like kids, like Gundam Build Divers and all that. So I'm interested to see what they do with this next iteration of Gundam. And then as far as movies is concerned, my Slime movie comes out in November, so I'm excited for that when it drops. And of course, I'm going to have to avoid the internet for the 4 months until it comes over here. But I'm very excited for the Slime movie. And then Makoto Shinkai's next movie, Suzume no Tojimari. I am excited for that. I love all of his works. So two movies that I'm on the lookout for as soon as they drop. And they're both in November, which is great.
Yep, I agree with you on the movie side of things. Suzume no Tojimari is gonna look amazing. I mean, it's a classic Makoto Shinkai movie. I mean, we love the man at this point. But the Slime movie as well, very interested in that. Two movies I'm interested in, however, as well, is they're very interesting. It's a very interesting movie because or set of movies I should say, because they're actually linked together. So one movie is called if I'm not mistaken, To Every You I've Ever Loved, and the other one, if I'm not mistaken, is I've only loved you, or something like that. Again, it's a bit weird, but the way it is basically built is that it's two movies. You need to watch them back to back, but the way you watch it or which order you watch it in basically will change how the ending is effectively for you, because of course when you end if you end like one of the first movies, the ending is different to the second movie. So it's a little bit weird in that sense, but it works together really, really well. So it's a very interesting concept. I don't think it's ever been done before necessarily with any other movie. So it's very fascinating in that regards. I'm very excited to watch it, but I don't know which one to watch first, to be quite honest. It's gonna be a case of like just randomly choosing one basically, but it's a set of movies I'm very curious on and very interested in, just because of how unique the concept is, more so than anything else. So that's two sets of movies I'm very excited on. Anything else do you guys think that you guys are looking forward to in particular, maybe?
That time I got reincarnated as a sword.
Oh, God.
Yep. It is in this
Yes,
season.
Yep. The token isekai, as I like to call it, as per usual. I swear, man,
Yeah.
there's always like that one isekai that's just like so random, and it's just like, what the hell? What I just remember because I recently read. It's not coming out in the fall season. It's coming out, I think, in winter 2023. But it was what? It's the second season of That Time I Reincarnated in Another World with My Smartphone, and it's just like,
Oh yeah.
how do you? Yeah, you reincarnated with your smartphone, but where are you getting the network from, buddy? I haven't seen the first season, so I have no. I don't. I
Oh,
haven't
you
figured
haven't
it
seen
out.
the first season? Oh, it's
No,
hooked up to
not
God.
Yeah. Okay. Oh,
God
fair
blessed
enough.
his phone.
God bless this phone. What a shocker. Why am I not surprised about that? But basically, yes. I mean, I'm not surprised that there is more. And we will be talking about another reincarnation in just a second once we talk about the CR Expo announcements. But yeah, the fall season's looking very, very strong. Let us know as well. What are you guys interested in watching this upcoming fall season? What is your most anticipated show/movie? And we'll read the comments and see what you guys have to say about it. Now, let's talk about CR Expo. I'm not gonna lie, I absolutely forgot CR Expo was going on until like last night, basically. So I only found out about it, and I found out a lot of the announcements in the morning when I woke up, basically. So I think we had stuff like Tower of God Season 2, which I'm not gonna lie, I ain't interested in it. Tower of God Season 1 did not impress me in the slightest, and I'm not excited for it. But we had some other major announcements as well, like Shield Hero Season 3. But anything you want to talk about in particular, Joker, I would say? Let's start with you. What are you interested in?
Oh man, I mean, I just got done talking about reincarnated as a sword, but how about reincarnated as a vending machine?
Oh, God.
Token
Oh, no.
Isekai number 2 coming up. Oh my god, it's gonna be so awful. I don't know.
I'm curious as to how it's exactly going to work. I mean, we've seen how it works as a slime, and now apparently we're going to find out how it's going to work as a sword. But what are you going to do as a vending machine? Just shove out soda cans for each village, basically?
Machine gun soda cans and crisp
Machine
packets out of
guns,
people. I don't know.
No,
Um,
see, it depends on the vending machine because in Japan, there's a lot of vending machines, all these different kinds. Like there's a pizza vending machine, there's an underwear vending machine. That's why I'm curious. Like, what kind of vending
Do
machine?
you want
this
to
one-
destructo disc some pizzas out of that thing?
Dude,
Then
that'd be
sure,
awesome.
my guest.
I cannot believe we're actually okay, so I'm gonna read I'm reading the synopsis for this. Okay, so a vending machine fanatic meets his demise when he is quite ironically crushed by a vending machine. To his dismay, he finds it. Well, okay, so first and foremost, a vending machine fanatic. I'm very confused about that notion entirely. But okay, to his dismay, he finds himself reincarnated as a vending machine in another world, having re-emerged within a forest inhabited by frogmen and other monsters and supplied with only 2 products. Boxo, the vending machine, requires coins to keep itself stocked, powered, and upgraded with new skills. Luckily, the automat is rescued by a young woman who quickly realizes that it is sentient, and she carries it to a human settlement. Thereafter, the strange piece of machinery gradually makes an impact on the world around it, gaining it is basically slime, but he's a vending machine instead. Clearly,
Wow.
Yes.
We gotta
I don't
watch
know.
it. We have to. We have to watch it.
Have
Like,
to.
We cannot watch this. So this is so
I
ridiculous.
can't skip that. That's such
Yeah,
an
no,
interesting
we
plot
have
line.
to.
Vending machine
I-
fanatic. Was it like Makoto from Railgun and just kicking it and it's just like, oh no, it falls on her. It got revenge finally.
Clearly, apparently that's the case. Apparently that is the case. But I mean, yeah, it's nuts. I don't know about that one, Chief. But what about you, Chico? Anything from your end that you're excited for from the CR Expo stuff that we've gotten?
There's a couple one that spot my eye. Even though like I watched all of Tower of God, and the only thing that I thought was actually cool was just the intro. The intro, just the music was really good, and the fighting that they did show in the beginning was really cool. But the story was all over the place. So, Beast Tamer looks kind of interesting. And the villainous is maybe the final season, I think. So I might have to binge watch that because I've heard good things about it. But I don't know.
Unrelated.
I want to see Tower of God actually be good because I like fighting anime where they just showed the really good animation of them just fighting, and I think a lot of people were really looking forward to Tower of God being that kind of anime, but I don't know if the same studio is gonna be working on this second season one, but if it's completed in the studio, then I'll definitely watch it.
It was.
I actually need to check that out. Let
Crunchyroll
me
did
see.
it.
But
Tower
yes.
God, right? It was a Crunchyroll original.
It wasn't Crunchyroll. It was produced by Crunchyroll, but the studio itself was I think it was Telecom Animation Studio. It was a completely different studio.
Okay.
The second season, I'm having a look see. It is still going to be produced by Webtoon / Crunchyroll, so I have no idea who the studio is going to be. Maybe it's a new studio. I don't know. They haven't mentioned it anywhere based on where I'm looking. So who knows? It's gonna be interesting at least. But I agree with you. I like the premise of Tower God initially. I think it was a good idea with the way they were going about it. But I felt the characterization and the pacing of the first season was just not good enough. I feel it was really poor. How about you? Anything that is you know coming to you that you want to watch or you're excited for in terms of any announcements particularly?
So I'm gonna try to save Tower God here real quick because I've read Webtoon. Like I'm all caught up to it. First season, it was. I'm gonna be real with you. First season, they actually did it very well. Like you're out here saying like it wasn't that. It was like all over the place. It was a little bit worse in the webtoon. I'm gonna be honest with you. That the art was just very shoddy. Just like it was all over the place. Like the anime itself actually saved it up a little bit, and they did their best. So I will give it that. And the second season, it's gonna be, I know it's gonna be slow. I will say this right now because what they're going to be doing is because the second season is gonna be slow because the thing is they're going to set up for a big event that will last for like a whole like season or two. So I will say this right now, like be very wary. Like if you were gonna go in thinking like, all right, straight gung ho, all action here and now, it's like no, it's going to be it will be slow. I will say this right now, it will be slow, but the payoff definitely works out for it. And I love how no one talked about it, but it was just finally shown. But Bungo Stray Dogs season 4's trailer dropped. That now looks amazing. All right, I will say this right now. I've also read up the manga of Bungo Stray Dogs. And this next arc that you're going into, holy shit. It looks like it's gonna be well animated. I love how it's just the cinematography again, the color, the shading, everything. And I love how they're keeping it mysterious on what the hell is going on. Just through the trailer and itself, all everyone knows is that apparently the agency is getting hunted by another organization that's funded by the government, but we don't know why. But the manga obviously it explains and everything, and it's just, oh man. And I can't wait for the amount of amazing fight scenes that's going to be coming out of this, because during that arc in the manga, just a little bit slow again in the beginning, but just straight action nonstop. There's always just so many cool things coming out, especially with these new characters and their powers. Oh man, dude! Bungo Stray Dogs, bro. I'm pretty sure it's coming out the first quarter of 2023, so I cannot wait for that.
Yeah, I mean, I actually didn't see the announcement. Like I said, I've been surprisingly out of tune with Crunchyroll Expo entirely, because I only found out about, like I said, last night. I generally thought it was at the end of the month for some reason, but it is what it is. But yeah, Bungo Stray Dogs is something that I haven't watched in a very long time, but I knew that a season 4 was on the table. It was coming out inevitably. But the fact that it is coming out, I need to watch the trailer after this podcast. I probably will. But I'm excited for it. I think it is one of those that is going to be exciting. I'll talk a little bit about Shield Hero in all honesty, because I think we should address it a little bit, because of course season 2 wasn't great. I think all of us kind of know that the first half of the season was pretty bad. They picked it up a bit on the second half of the season, but I mean, it couldn't be rescued. The goodwill it had from season 1, it went to dust basically in season 2. So Season 3's key visual looks very interesting to me, and on top of that, they are finally actually getting the author of Shield Hero to work closely with the production of the series. Usagi, they will be working with the production team to be able to work on the season, and hopefully that means it'll be better handled hopefully from here on out in terms of at least pacing. Animation is obviously going to be a different point altogether, but we'll have to just wait and see what they end up doing. Hopefully, season 2 was just a blip so that they could work on season 3. But it's going to be very interesting nonetheless. I mean, I'm kind of glad that they are actually getting they're actually getting the author to help out with the work. But I mean, we'll have to just the animation was what was also really really piss poor in the second season, sorry. So yeah, we'll have to just hold off and see on that front. But anything else you guys want to talk about in terms of CRX4 or anything else in regards to like just anime and stuff maybe?
I'm excited for Shield Hero season 3. I mean, the first half of season 2 was definitely rough, but the second half picked up. So if they can capitalize on that and keep it going in that kind of same aspect and format, then I think it'll do much better than season 2 did.
Agreed. Anything else from you guys you want to talk about in terms of just anime stuff? Anything?
I'm going to have them make up a very tight schedule for the amount of anime because a lot of them are looking pretty interesting. I definitely want to check them as much as I can for this season. Last season, I feel like there was barely any anime that really spawned my eye other than like some of the newer season stuff. This upcoming one is going to be a very good one. So I'm really looking forward to it.
No, absolutely agree.
Rico, you mentioned that I think for the upcoming, that the villainous one, you were thinking it was a season 3. It is not related to the current My Life as a Villainous anime. It's completely different.
Yeah.
Oh snap! My bad. I will definitely check it out though. Looks cool.
No, you're good.
If you haven't watched the actual Villainous show, I recommend it because it's really good.
Yes, it is very, very fun. I'm not gonna lie, even I initially, when I saw just Villainous, I was like, oh, is that the same one? But no, it's a different one. I'm the Villainous, so I'm taming the final boss. It's a completely different one. I was just like, okay, makes sense. How about you? Anything you want to add before we wrap up? You exist?
I just realized I was muted.
Oh, no.
I started talking. I was talking for a bit, but anyways, I pretty much said everything I wanted to say. Really, there's nothing really. Just I can't wait for this upcoming season and the good old Bleach being back. Cannot wait for that one. That's pretty much it.
For sure. All right. I think with that, we will be wrapping up this episode of the podcast. Of course, if you guys enjoyed it and you're on YouTube, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We will be back in about 2 weeks' time to cover everything and anything else that comes up in the anime world. Of course, we will be approaching the fall season by that point. We're going to be in, the end of August, the start of September. Things will start heating up in current shows and we'll be approaching the fall season, so stuff might be popping up. And of course, thank you so much to my guests as well for joining in, is Trico Gaming as well as Ice Cold Joker. Check them out on their socials and stuff. Of course, if you also enjoyed this podcast and you want to hear us on the go, remember, check us out on Spotify. Thank you to Manscaped for sponsoring this video as well, and this podcast I should say. And thank you guys for watching. We will see you guys next time. Take it easy, everybody. Bye-bye.
Later.